What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Sunday, February 25th, 2024, and I have some breaking news to share with you guys. Right now, it is 22:16 Eastern Time here in the United States. Right now, we have four nuclear war command and control planes in the air, and this is extremely unusual for a Sunday. Normally, you don't see any of these in the air on a Sunday, but we have four in the air right now. Actually, three. One of them landed, but there were a total of four today. So we had one take off from Patuxent River and go out into the Atlantic, and we don't know where it went after it went out into the Atlantic. Looks like it either turned its transponder off or there's just no reception here for flight tracking. We had another one that was out in the Gulf earlier this afternoon, and then that one landed at Tinker Air Force Base, which is their home base. And then we had another one take off from Tinker, and it turned its transponder off somewhere over southern Indiana, and I don't know where it is now. And then we have this one that was out in the Pacific earlier this afternoon, and it is now moving over Nevada and Utah. Okay, so this is extremely unusual, and a few days ago we had seven of these in one day, okay, which is the most I've ever seen since I've been tracking flights, which is before the Ukraine war when I started first tracking flights. So the last 3 years, I've never seen this many nuclear war command and control planes in one day, which was a few days ago. We had seven, and now on Sunday, four, which is unusual for a Sunday. On Sundays, usually it's like a day of rest for the military, so you don't see as many of these in the air. But the fact that there's four of them means that something is going on. And we have some breaking news coming from Ukraine. The head of the Ukrainian intelligence agency, the SBU, said Ukraine will definitely destroy the Crimean bridge in 2024. So the head of the Ukrainian intelligence agency, the SBU, which is like the Ukrainian CIA, said that Ukraine will definitely destroy the Crimean bridge. He said there is a lot ahead. The Crimean bridge will definitely be destroyed. We will not reveal all the plans. And this comes right after the head of Ukraine's military intelligence, Kirill Budanov, said earlier today that civilians in Crimea and Russia need to avoid using the Crimean bridge. And this was the video that Kirill Budanov released earlier, okay, warning residents of Crimea and neighboring areas of Russia not to use the bridge. So it looks like Ukraine is going to try to destroy this bridge this year, guys, which would be massive. That would be a massive move, and I'm sure it would infuriate Putin. Okay, but we have the heads of both major intelligence agencies in Ukraine saying that they will be going after the Crimean bridge, basically. Okay, so I'm going to keep an eye on that for you. And when that happens, I will go live as long as necessary to cover that. And right now, we still have some kind of traffic jam near the Crimean bridge on the Russian side of the Crimean bridge. You can see a little bit of a backup here, not as bad as earlier today. There was a pretty long backup, but looks like there's some issues still with traffic on the bridge. Apparently, there were some air raid sirens earlier on the Crimean Peninsula. So Russia's definitely scared that the Ukrainians are going to launch some missiles at this bridge, so they've shut it down or reduced traffic today. And Russia is preparing to launch an offensive in Ukraine in the spring or the start of the summer, according to Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky. He said this at the Ukraine Year 2024 forum in Kyiv today. Russia will be preparing for counter-offensive actions at the beginning of the summer or at the end of May if they can, Zelensky said. We will be preparing for battle. Wow, guys. Okay, so that is very concerning. And Russia's strategic goals for 2024 remain the same as before, according to Ukraine's military intelligence chief, Kirill Budanov. He said that today to the Kyiv Independent at the Ukraine Year 2024 Forum. And he said that Russia's goal is to destroy Ukrainian statehood and reach the administrative border of Luhansk and Donetsk oblasts to keep what they already have, but that they have been unable to do so by military means. In 2022 to 2023, they failed to do so, and in 2024, they will not be able to do so either, Budanov said. On Sunday, a fire broke out in a 2,000 square meter industrial warehouse in Podolsk near Moscow. According to Russian media RIA Novosti, as many as 50 firefighters were on the scene. And there was also a shopping mall in Sverdlovsk in Russia that caught fire for unknown reasons and burned completely to the ground. So a lot of these warehouses and various buildings are just randomly catching fire these days in Russia. And several Russian missiles hit Kharkiv and Dnipropetrovsk today, with injuries reported. There was also a massive air assault by the Ukrainian army with combat drones against the Russian military in Crimea earlier today. In Jankoy, which is in northern Crimea, an air raid siren sounded at a Russian military unit. After the sounds of a drone were heard over the Nizhegorodsky district, two powerful kabooms were then reported. And Biden will be meeting with congressional leadership, including House Speaker Mike Johnson, at the White House on February 27th to discuss a funding bill for Ukraine's security. And Putin's presidential plane may have landed in Vladivostok today for a visit to North Korea. And Russian troops executed at least 7 Ukrainian soldiers who surrendered as prisoners of war near Bakhmut in the Donetsk Oblast yesterday. And Israeli authorities are now telling residents of the northern Israeli town of Kiryat Shimona to evacuate their homes until at least August. Okay, that is insane, guys. And here we have a video of the mayor of Kiryat Shimona urging residents to evacuate, okay, and not to return until at least August. So obviously, Israel is planning some kind of military action against Hezbollah, and Hezbollah has thousands and thousands of rockets. So as soon as Israel launches their ground invasion, Hezbollah is going to launch all these rockets. So Israel has been preparing their air defenses to be able to deal with this massive amount of rockets that are going to be launched. They've been kicking their preparations into overdrive, okay? And also, they've been doing civil defense planning. They've already sent out brochures to people in Israel, including diplomats of foreign countries, warning them to prepare for power outages where at least 50% of Israel would lose power. Okay, so they're prepping their society for this big war against Hezbollah. Okay, and we know that Netanyahu urged the Israeli war cabinet today to start the operation in Rafah. Okay, so that's going to happen very soon. And I warned you guys about this months ago that this day would come. So please pray for Israel, guys. Okay, this is going to get really intense, not only because Hezbollah has all those rockets, but because inside of Israel, you have thousands, if not millions, of sleeper cells. Okay, that's what a lot of people don't know. And I have a friend who lives right next to the West Bank, and he tells me what goes on over there. And there's literally terrorists embedded in Israeli society, like they're everywhere. And as soon as this war kicks off with Hezbollah, those terrorists are going to be activated, and they're going to go around and carry out various acts of violence throughout Israel. So please keep Israel in your prayers, guys. Okay, we are living in some very difficult times right now. And Elon Musk is apparently blocking internet service for U.S. military troops in Taiwan, breaching SpaceX's contract with the Pentagon. Furious lawmakers have sent Elon Musk a letter warning that he's putting U.S. troops stationed in Taiwan in serious danger. Let me read to you this letter that was sent to Elon Musk from Republican Congressman Mike Gallagher from Wisconsin. And he's the chairman of the Committee on the Chinese Communist Party. He says, "Dear Mr. Musk, I write today regarding highly concerning information about SpaceX's refusal to provide the U.S. Department of Defense and other government agencies with contractually obligated global access to SpaceX broadband internet services. Starshield, which currently operates on commercial Starlink infrastructure, offers the U.S. government enhanced prioritization and global access to SpaceX's installation of satellites. Indeed, the United States government has committed over $100 million of American taxpayer dollars to Starshield. I understand, however, that SpaceX is possibly withholding broadband internet services in and around Taiwan, possibly in breach of SpaceX's contractual obligations with the U.S. government." Wow, guys. Okay, this is very, very interesting. In December 2022, SpaceX launched Starshield, a system that will leverage SpaceX's Starlink technology and launch capability to support national security efforts. Starshield provides the U.S. government with a secure satellite network to support reliable imagery, sensing, and communications in space. The promises of Starshield offer the U.S. military a strategic advantage in space, and indeed the Pentagon is committing tens of millions of dollars over the next year for the program. Multiple sources have disclosed to the committee that Starshield is inactive in and around Taiwan, a thriving island democracy roughly 100 miles off the coast of the People's Republic of China. Taiwan is a cornerstone of the global economy and a vital partner of the U.S. Taiwan, the centerpiece of the first island chain, which represents an essential line of defense against the CCP's increasingly aggressive use of military forces, lives under constant CCP threat of military aggression. Despite never having exercised control over Taiwan, the CCP has maintained a historical claim to sovereignty, blah, blah, blah. So this is very interesting, guys. A lot of people are saying that the reason why Musk is not providing Starshield technology to the military over Taiwan is because Musk has a lot of contracts with China and he doesn't want to piss China off and basically lose business. Okay, a lot of his business is with China. Okay, so he doesn't want to piss China off, and that's why he's withholding Starshield from being used over Taiwan. Okay, but this would breach a contract that he signed, his company signed with the federal government. Okay, so very, very concerning. Here we have some video footage that was released by the U.S. military showing these B-1 strategic nuclear bombers arriving in northern Sweden on Friday night. I tracked this with you guys live. Okay, 2 B-1 bombers landed Friday night in Luleå, Sweden. And this happens to be the home of Sweden's most elite fighter squadron. Okay, so very, very interesting. Apparently, they're going to be doing exercises together, the Swedish Air Force and these bombers. They're going to be doing exercises together, practicing bombing runs, and apparently they've already done that before. Obviously, this is a forward deployment as well because Sweden is going to be joining NATO very soon, and so they're moving these B-1s there as a show of support for Sweden in case Russia tries to do anything stupid. Okay, so things are really escalating all over the world, especially in Europe. Okay, look at that beautiful plane, absolutely massive. This is a supersonic nuclear bomber. Okay, it used to be nuclear. Now it's used conventionally. It's not officially part of our nuclear triad, but it can easily be upfitted with nuclear weapons if needed. Okay, there's not a lot of modifications that would be required for this thing to carry nukes. It's just not deployed with nukes, okay, as per START treaty requirements. But this is basically a dinosaur of a plane. It's a relic from the Cold War. It's literally a nuclear bomber that can go as fast as a fighter jet. Okay, think about that, guys. I mean, this thing can carry hundreds of thousands of pounds of weapons and fly more than the speed of sound. Okay, it's like a B 2 stealth bomber or a B 52 Stratofortress being able to fly faster than an F-16. It's just absolutely incredible how powerful these things are. Okay. And here we have some footage from Israel earlier today. Northern Israel, Hezbollah launched some rockets or missiles towards northern Israel. So the situation there is still extremely tense. And here we have some footage coming from the Polish-Ukraine border. A bunch of angry Polish farmers dumped out at least several rail cars full of Ukrainian grain. And we don't know if these are truly Polish farmers or Russian agents, because a few days ago, there was one of these so-called Polish farmers holding up a sign asking Putin to free Polish people from Brussels and from their own government. Okay, and they were holding up a USSR flag, and I can tell you, as a first-generation American with Polish roots, that nobody in Poland would ever think of holding up a USSR flag because it represents communism and tyranny. Okay, most Polish people, no matter what political spectrum they're in, left or right, 90% of Polish people despise communism and the USSR. So no normal Polish person would ever think of holding up a USSR flag. So this is a little bit suspicious here. It could be the work of the Russian KGB trying to drive a wedge between Poland and Ukraine, and it seems to be working. Apparently, Zelensky may have snubbed the Polish president on the 2-year anniversary of the Ukraine war over this situation, with the Polish farmers blocking the grain from coming in from Ukraine. The office of the Polish president has issued a statement regarding whether Ukraine withdrew an invitation for the Polish president to visit Ukraine on February the 24th, the 2-year anniversary of Russia's full-scale invasion. The prime ministers of Canada, Belgium, and Italy, as well as Ursula von der Leyen, the president of the EU, all visited Ukraine on the 2-year anniversary, but Poland's president did not come. The Polish Secretary of State said in an interview with Radio Z that the president maintains constant contact with Vladimir Zelensky. The visit on the anniversary of the full-scale Russian invasion did not take place. That's a fact. The Polish president was not in Ukraine, as opposed to Ms. von der Leyen and other European leaders. When asked whether it was true that Ukraine had withdrawn the Polish president's invitation, the Secretary of State said she did not know anything about the matter. It seems to me like they snubbed him, okay? It seems like the Ukrainians snubbed the Polish president. They were threatening to take retaliatory measures by the end of March if Poland doesn't do something about these farmers blocking the border. And here we have some video footage coming out of Brazil in Sao Paulo. You can see millions and millions of Brazilians protesting against the current president of Brazil because of his anti-Semitic and communist philosophies. Okay, this is just absolutely huge. And apparently this group of people is being led by Bolsonaro. So this is very interesting, guys. We could see a civil war in Brazil. We could see a civil war because Bolsonaro's forces, his supporters, are out in mass, okay? And it's possible that Bolsonaro may take back the country and he may withdraw from BRICS. He may distance himself from Russia because Bolsonaro is a conservative and the current president is very pro-Putin and pro-Hamas and anti-Israel. Bolsonaro is the total opposite. He's a conservative. He's a Christian. So we'll have to wait and see what happens here. But that's the latest breaking news that I have. I will be back tomorrow with more breaking news updates. But just get prepared, guys. Things are really escalating in Europe. I'm very concerned that Russia could launch some kind of surprise attack on NATO, especially the Baltic countries and possibly Poland or Moldova. We had sources reporting that a bunch of Russian troops moved out of Crimea earlier today, so they could be heading towards Odessa or Transnistria. This week, the government of Transnistria, the separatist government, is going to formally request that Russia annex them. So we'll have to wait and see if Putin annexes Transnistria potentially this week. He's going to be giving a speech on the 29th. So that's the latest breaking news that I have, guys. I will be back tomorrow with more updates. Until then, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere. And this update was sponsored by My Patriot Supply. Guys, My Patriot Supply is doing a discount on their 1-month emergency food supply. And to get the deal, you got to go to preparewithnyprepper.com, and the link is in the description below this video. This is a 1-month freeze-dried food supply. It has a 25-year shelf life. Normal price is $237. They've dropped it down to $177. So that's a savings of $60. And it's all packed within 2 rugged, water-resistant buckets. Free shipping is included. $177 for 1 month of food. Where are you going to find a deal like that? They also have a general store, and they're always running discounts in their general store on various prepping and survival items. They have everything from MREs, potassium iodide, to survival seeds. And to get to their general store, you got to click on the My Patriot Supply logo at the top of the page when you get to preparewithnyprepper.com. And you'll see when you get there, they have everything you can imagine. So use the link preparewithnyprepper.com to get $60 off the My Patriot Supply 1-month emergency food supply. That's $180 for 1 month of food, free shipping included. The link is in the description below this video. And also check out their general store. They have everything you can imagine prepping and survival related, and they're always running various discounts there.